Hi everybody, we are Mike and Brenda Baker. Are you a blended family who's also a military family and you're kind of starting to really second guess because you've got so much chaos in your life? This video is for you. So in this video, what we're going to cover is surviving chaos, stabilizing military blended families.
Okay, for those of you who've seen us, you know that I was military for many years, but for those of you who haven't seen us, I was National Guard for 24 years with 2 deployments to Iraq. I don't say that for a pat on the back, I just say that to qualify that we had our own struggles as a military family. Now, there are those of you who are Guard, there are those of you who are Reserve, and there are those of you who are full-time. All 3 of those have their own unique circumstances and problems. Okay, a lot of people think that aren't military, this is my favorite thing, a lot of people think that it's just 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks in the summer. Bullcrap. It hasn't been that way since 2000. Okay, I still remember sitting in the briefing of December of 2000 in Bozeman, Montana, where they changed the mission of the National Guard, might have been 99 actually, where they changed the mission of the National Guard from only CONUS, which is here in the States, to also OCONUS, which is overseas. That's when Guard and Reserve troops started shipping out. Actually, Guard troops were shipping out more than Reserve troops at that time. So they had to change the terminology, they had to change the mission in order to be able to supersede some of those states so that they could send guys away. Now, what's the point? Point number 1, military is a military. Okay, there's a saying in the military called embrace the suck. And what that means is that it's not fun. It's not fun, okay? There are a lot of things that bind guys together. There are things that bind families together when you're gone. There's a lot of things that push people apart too. I mean, the divorce rate is tremendously high after a deployment. Mm-hmm. The divorce rate in the regular Army is tremendously high. And it's also high in the Guard and the Reserves. So that tells you there's a lot of stress and there's a lot of problems there. So what you need to do is you need to embrace it. You need to know upfront that this is a problem. This is going to be a problem. It's not all going to be moonlight and roses. And we need to embrace this thing and we need to make it our own. But more even, there's the 2 of you that have to work together, but more so, you need to help your kids embrace it as well.
Yeah, one of the things that I really saw on the family side, because I was the president of the family readiness group for a lot of years, I don't even remember how many years now, is the fact that the communication was very here and there, right? Yes. Especially when the guys first left, which they weren't all guys that left, but that's just what I'm going to say, because it just makes it easier.
Yes.
But that is one of the things that I noticed is that when the communication was less, the communication broke down really, really quickly. And the ladies, especially that were left behind, would get themselves, worrying about different things, which was their safety. They were concerned about, the relationship, if they got in a fight before, and they weren't able to talk to each other for a long period of time. And so that is my biggest encouragement to you, is to get firm on your communication, because the military, you don't know, especially on deployment, what's going to happen. You may never talk to them again, right? Mm-hmm. And so always keep that in mind as far as, solving the problems really quickly.
And try to be as transparent with your kids as possible without compromising SOP, which is just standard operating procedure, or SecOps, which is security operations. So, the old saying is loose lips sink ships. And it's absolutely, it's absolutely true that you do have to be careful what you say, but don't be so protective that they don't know what's going on at all. Kids don't want to be left in the dark any more than you do. They want to feel with you. They want to mourn with you. They want to be happy with you. Okay, so give them that opportunity. But overall, look, it's just not easy. Military life is not easy, whether you're part-time or full-time.
And I would say too, as a caveat, that I hate to say this, but the military really trains families that the least, the less you tell them, the better it is for their mission. I'm going to call bullcrap on that. It actually caused all sorts of problems. And second deployment, that is not how we operated.
Yeah.
I told him everything. I didn't hold one thing back ever, because he needed to know what was going on. He also needed to feel that he was involved in it in some way. Now, a lot of what I'm talking about is more related to deployments. And so maybe I need to back up.
Well, no, that could have a lot to do with schools
Out in the field.
when they're out in the field on FTX. I mean, anytime you guys are separated for military reasons, you need to be very open. Now, what she's talking about, she's not talking about me giving her sensitive information from where I'm at.
No.
Because that can also be the case even in a field environment where we're just training, right? So the big thing is to make sure that she was communicating with me.
Yeah.
First deployment, she kept things from me. Because Big Army said, don't tell your husbands these things. They don't need it. When I got home, I was ticked. I was mad. And I wasn't necessarily mad at her. I was upset that anybody had the audacity to tell her not to tell me. It's, here I am sitting over there. I literally can do nothing. Nothing. And you know what makes that worse? Finding out everything that happened after you get home. Okay? Because then you feel 3 times as worthless.
Well, and I thought that they knew what was best, right? I didn't know anybody who was in the military. I didn't grow up in a military family. Again, this is all stuff that I wish somebody would have told me.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you these things. Yes, I did withhold quite a bit of things, and it actually caused some relational problems between us, because he was like, "Well, why didn't you tell me that?" Well, and I'd be like, "Well,
I didn't want to stress you out."
Yeah.
And we're not talking cheating or anything like that.
Right. No, nothing like that.
We're just talking general everyday stuff. Something came up.
Well,
there were some other weird things too. Yeah. What?
Okay.
Anyway, number 2, stop blaming each other. Probably one of the biggest things I've seen with military spouses, especially in blended families, is I'll be straight up. The wives say, "No, I'm good with this. We can do this. We can do this." And the wives are atypically the first ones to start pointing the finger and accusing the guy or gal if it's the husband. Either way, it's the non-military spouse. How about that? The non-military spouse or partner that says in the beginning, "We can do this," and is the first one to then say, "You're always gone. You never call me. Why don't you text back?" I mean, take your pick. Okay, if their soldier is not texting back within 5 minutes, there's an issue. They're dead. They're hurt. Or they just don't care anymore. Or they're cheating on them. You're just cheating on me. You're just cheating on me. And then, of course, back home, that's what was happening, not the other way around. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that the communication, the second you start blaming, the second you start pointing fingers, communication only goes downhill. It does not come back.
Right. And we've seen this a lot in non-military blended families as well, but it is like
amplified
a lot more in military families. So just understand that if you agreed to, as the non-military spouse, if you agreed to them re-signing or signing up for the military, you need to be a person of your word. Part of the problem and some of the reason that some of the divorces from his unit happened, and other units that I dealt with as well at the same time, was because people were not people of their word. And so if you are angry at your spouse because they're in the military and you didn't sign up to be a single parent and blah, 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 but yet you said yes, how can you blame your spouse?
Now it's suddenly their fault? No.
Right. It's not all your spouse. You chose, right? So did you know what being in a blended family was going to be like? Well, no, you didn't specifically. Okay. Yep. You might have known some things, but we can all agree that we didn't really truly know what we were in for coming into a blended family. But you're here, right? And we're here to help you because we've been through all of this stuff before.
Now, we're not saying that the soldier always does things right.
No.
Not saying that at all. There are plenty of mistakes made on the soldier side. I'm simply bringing up that which I have come across the most. Okay? Which brings us into point number 3. Point number 3 is Semper Gumby. Especially now, any of you military families know exactly what I mean.
Well, I didn't
Semper
know.
Semper Gumby, always flexible. There could be, your soldier could tomorrow have a school that they need to go to in 2 days. And now they got to rearrange a whole schedule. Okay, I can't tell you how many anniversaries and birthdays I missed. Not because I wanted to. And there were times when officers would hold you because they could. That was it. Why? Because their marriages were unhappy. And if their marriages are unhappy, yours should be unhappy too. Okay. You know the old saying, if the Army wanted you to have a wife, they'd issue you one. Okay. Well, that is not far from the truth. Okay. So there are a lot of, now, and let me back up too. There are a tremendous amount of great first sergeants and a tremendous amount of great commanders. Okay. But there are equally a tremendous amount of bad first sergeants, bad sergeant majors, and bad commanders. And I don't want to take away from you guys who have had to deal with those guys, because I had to deal with them. I had 5 days of my leave cut off for zero reason by my battalion commander. Okay, absolute bullcrap. Absolutely no reason for it. Disciplinary for nothing done wrong. Okay, he simply didn't like when I had set my vacation for on a return trip from Iraq. So he exercised what he could. And I know those things happen. Okay. And I get it. You carry that stuff with you, but Semper Gumby, always flexible. You guys got to be willing. I mean, for some guys, they get that call for a school. That may be the only school they get for the next, if they're part-time, that may be the only school they get for 2 years. And they got to go. Why? Because they need to promote, because that is part of the game. And you have to be flexible enough to move with them. They don't like it. They don't like upturning. You think they do. You think they're off goofing off. No, that's not it at all. It is not easy to pick all your stuff up and go. Pick all your stuff up and go. All right? I got to the point where I took my coffee cup from home everywhere I went. To Iraq, to schools. Why? Because that was the one thing I could take with me that actually made me feel like home was with me. That I could bring it with me wherever I went. And it made the transition not quite so hard. It was that one item. So
just to give like a little tip that really helped me, I hope it helps you. One thing that I did different, the second deployment as compared to the first, is I wrote a detailed list where everybody in the house could see it. And it had like what we were going to pay off while he was gone, because one of his deployments, he made more money than he did in the civilian world. Okay. And so I had what we were going to pay off while he was gone, what we were saving up for while he was gone, all the positives that I could, everything I could think of. I had it written down on this board because on those hard days where the boys were being obnoxious, everybody, I don't know, but anything that went wrong, it seemed like would always happen in the same week. And so that board just would help me to kind of refocus my mind and go, okay, this is why we're, which he was doing it because he signed up to do it. But at the same time, I needed small ways to remind myself it was worth it, outside of freedom, outside of, being a man of his word, whatever. Extra things I needed to, like things that I could actually see right away. I needed those things written down, and it really, really helped me. So that's a tip. If you're struggling with something, even if you're not military and you're watching this, you're just curious, that is a really good thing to do when you feel like everything is so heavy. In fact, sometimes now I should bring out that trick because it really helps me as a person. So
that's it.
All right. Well, with that, We hope that we helped you with this. If you have any military questions and you're a blended family, leave those down below. We have more videos coming about military specifically. And so, please let us know how you're feeling about things. Make sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We're so glad that you're here with us today, and we'll see you again soon. All right, bye.